everyone to Superintendent's Corner. I'm Dr. David Clendening. In the studio today we have Franklin's very own Teacher of the Year, Miss Sarles. Miss Sarles teaches here at the high school and just an outstanding world history teacher, as well as many other things that she provides. We're going to talk a little about her journey as she found out that she was Teacher of the Year, what took place as she traveled up to the State Teacher of the Year program. And she's one of the top 10 teachers in the state, and we're so proud of that and honored to have her grow kids. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Pleased to be here.
So let's just talk about your classroom. Tell everybody, what do you teach, and what's your favorite thing to teach?
Okay, well, I teach at the high school, so I teach primarily sophomore world history and senior U.S. government. In my world history class, ancient cultures are sort of my bread and butter. I really enjoy those classes. And then in U.S. government, certainly dealing with very timely topics of terrorism and treaty making and global incursions and that sort of thing. So,
you know, we have individual student growth as our guiding principle, kind of why we exist as a district. How do you make sure that kids are growing in your classroom?
It's a kind of a multi-process, stepped effort. We end up doing a sort of a pre-quiz or a pre-assessment to sort of ascertain what kids already know going into it. We have lessons that attribute themselves to the auditory learners, to note-taking learners, to project learners, and then of course the post-assessment versus what they started off knowing, where have they grown in that regard. So I don't necessarily use it as a, do they know everything going in, but what do they actually gain coming out of the effort. And then, for some students, the first time through is a bit of a challenge, so we do a little bit of remediation and some test corrections and some reteach activities to try and hit all of those kids in their learning process.
And I think the audience would have just heard why you were selected as Teacher of the Year. As you think about your learning environment is unique. You have the kids clustered. You do provide a lot of experiences for them. You do make sure they grow, and you do remediate if they don't get it. Try to figure out how do I get this history alive, because history does repeat itself. Right?
It does. It's absolutely.
It is amazing that it really does, and we do need to know that. So let's just talk a little bit about what were your emotions when you heard, hey, I was selected here first as the high school Teacher of the Year.
Yeah, obviously this started back in March, so it's been a long process. When the request for nominations comes out, all of the teachers, we nominate one another and who we think is making an impact. And I was surprised to see I made that list, first of all, and then when it came out that I had been selected at the high school by my colleagues, it actually has far more gravitas to it than when a superintendent does it or the state does it. Like, I work with these people every single day, so to have their respect and their recognition was an extraordinarily humbling process. So that really was just blew the top off the kettle, if you will.
Yeah, and it was great to announce you as the district Teacher of the Year. And it is a lot of work.
Oh my.
Talk a little bit about what you had to do once you found out, yay, I'm the Teacher of the Year, and I get to do this 20 hours of work.
And that's a generous hours. I think once you announced that I had won the district level, where we had to put together a portfolio just for the district level, it was a big project. It was not something that you could take lightly. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so that adds another layer of expectations on myself. But at the state level, we have this beautiful portfolio that we put together here for the district that siphons off some of the essay responses and that sort of thing, and really is just a celebration of what we do here in Franklin and in our communities. The state had 7 essays to add on top of that particular effort, and then had to come up with a way to distill all of our participation here at the local level into kind of like key moments of success. So it was a really, really long process. Through my own problems, I had to amplify the speeding up of the process. Technically wasn't due until July 1st, but I spent all of June in Africa as part of my 10X grant, so I literally had to have this turned in a month early. So there were literally days all through April and May where I was not leaving the classroom until 8 or 9 o'clock at night to try to get it all done. So, but it was well worth it. I know we don't like to put that kind of effort forward, and it does feel a little bit like a a backhanded reward. Yay, you're an important person in our state, and here's like, you know, an entire dissertation that you have to put together. But I had not updated a resume in 20 years of teaching, and it is remarkable how much you do in a career. So I now have sort of that file of here's who I am at this point in my life, and it's a great tool, and it's a great reminder and opportunity for me to feel proud of what I've gotten accomplished here.
Yeah, and you have accomplished a lot.
Thank you.
As I said earlier, Ms. Sarles did make it into the top 10.
I did.
So that in itself is a significant endeavor. All the schools, 303 corporations have a chance to nominate a teacher for this, as well as some of the private schools can throw in opportunities. And to be in the top 10 is really an awesome thing for you.
Well, I argue I finished top 4.
Okay.
Just right outside of middle placement.
You know what? Hey, you are 4th, and you're number 1 for us.
That's right.
So it's all
going to argue.
Exactly. Well, you know, you also do more than the classroom.
I do.
And I think that's one of the things that, if I had to surmise why the state read all of your stuff and said, she's a good teacher, and she's more than that. Talk a little about what you do outside of classroom to help our school.
Well, I am a school safety specialist, and I've been Franklin High School school safety specialist now for 17 years. So as a byproduct of that, of course, I have to do advanced training, and I go to conferences, and I bring best practices back here to the school. I lead our school development safety program. I'm on the school safety team. I'm the lead specialist for that particular effort. Something that I'm really, really proud of that is sort of a blend from last year to this year. We brought the Safe Schools for Girls, which teaches our senior girls who are getting ready to go to university and college how to be an advocate for their own personal safety on campuses where we see an increasing growth of sexual and physical domestic violence being perpetrated against young girls. And then born out of that was a program that we did this fall with our freshman boys and girls, where we talked a little bit about the legal ramifications of their conduct with each other, and certainly took a look at some of the social complications of cyber technology and felonies and misdemeanors that kind of fall into that, but also sort of the social ostracism that can happen as a way to make our school much safer for our students.
And a lot of praise for that program. I've heard both last year when you introduced it to the seniors, and then this year as the kids have learned about it. And it's eye-opening for those kids.
It is.
What they think is like, hey, I've got my little iPhone, I'll take a picture, or I'll do something crazy. And then unfortunately we hear about the crimes that are committed and some other things, and so you're a strong advocate for that, and we thank you and say amen to that. What do you do for fun? Talk about what you do for fun.
I fill out portfolios for our district.
That was it, and thank you for watching Superintendent's Corner.
For fun, I kind of divide my life into 2 little portions outside of school. I am an avid reader. I love to read, so 30, 40 books a year for that particular effort.
Best book you're reading?
Right now, I am victoriously struggling through Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, which is a tome to end all tomes. So, but I am enjoying it, and I teach the French Revolution in my class, so it's a bit of a bridge.
And you're singing the whole thing, right?
Oh, absolutely! I can hear that's down. It's one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
So very excited about that. But I guess what I really am known for here in the building outside of school is all the time I spend traveling.
Yeah.
So I am a super world traveler. 40 countries at this point, 7 continents.
Yeah.
Take students abroad, take friends abroad, travel by myself. It's a big part of who I am outside of school.
And you know what? That's the other part of our school district. We get measured a lot of times by, hey, this 1 point in time test score, or what somebody outside thinks of us. But we believe experiences reign supreme.
100%.
You really can't capture on a report card or a letter grade that you're going to get at the district level or school level what experiences mean and matter. So I think you traveling to all those places. A couple things that you probably see is that, number one, English is not the only language in the world.
And certainly not American English.
Yeah.
Definitely not the only language. And I think when we take our students abroad, like we are this coming summer, they are going to witness that the world is so much larger than the rut we live in and our comfort zone. So I always hope that the students decide to join our foreign language programs and participate in world culture studies as an extension of that.
Well, you're modeling, and it's amazing. We talk about instructional practice in our district, and we talk about learning objectives, and if you go to see Ms. Sarles' classroom, it's out there, you know what you're doing. We talk about giving the kids the information, and then modeling it, and then assessing it. So in your entire life, you do all those things. So I just say thank you for leading our kids. It's really awesome. If you also don't know, she started a men's volleyball program here that happens to be pretty doggone good.
Very good.
And so we say thank you to that. So with all that, we're proud of you. We say congratulations. It's a well-deserved honor.
I'm privileged.
If you want to learn any more about Ms. Sarles and what she does in world history or U.S. history, if that's your passion, connect up with her. As you can see that she's a very passionate teacher, educator, and she loves kids, and she makes a difference. You've been watching Superintendent's Corner. Thank you.